edition of Discover Tinley. Thanks for watching us. My name is Ron Centeni. I'm your host tonight. And this is brought to you through the facilities of the Community Resources Commission. As we've said in the past, the Community Resources Commission is the commission that is responsible for putting on these programs. All of our volunteers are helping out with this. And we've got some actual student and other volunteers helping with the cameras tonight. So it's tremendous volunteer effort on the part of the Community Resources Commission. Another year's gone by. It's amazing how 2007 is fast gone through, and Tinley Park has really come through like a winner in a number of different areas. And we're going to talk about some of that kind of stuff. But it just amazes me all the time about the number of outstanding people and organizations we have in town here that make Tinley Park a really great place in which to live. And I'd like to repeat once again, too, if any of you have any organizations or know of any people that maybe we can highlight on our program, drop us a line at the Village Hall in care of the Community Resources Commission. Put on their Discover Tinley TV, and let us know if you know somebody that maybe we can highlight sometime on one of our programs. Well, every year at this time, in our beginning of the program of the year, we kind of look back on the year in Tinley Park, and we have our very erstwhile and #1 citizen in Tinley Park, Mayor Ed Zabrocki, here to talk to us. Mayor Ed, thanks for coming.
How you doing, Ron? Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, the mayor has been, how long have you been mayor again?
Since 1981.
Wow, seems like just yesterday, right? Time flies when you're having fun.
Right.
A lot of things happened this year, this last year, didn't they?
A lot of good things, Ron. We are very, very proud of our community. I'm glad that you mentioned at the outset our volunteer spirit with our roughly 15 to 16 different commissions. Involves about 150, 155 people. And these are all volunteers who work in various aspects of the village. And if any folks are interested in joining one of our commissions, please drop me a note, and we'll see what we can do about putting you on one of them and be part of the volunteer spirit of Tinley Park. Yeah, and Tinley is really noted for its volunteer spirit. We probably have the biggest volunteer base of any community probably in the south suburbs, wouldn't you say? We've never kept track of it that way, but I'd say if we're not the top, we got to be near the top.
Right. Let's kind of go into what's been happening in Tinley Park. We've had a bunch of major developments going on in town here. Of course, the big thing is the North and South Street development. What's been the progress on that so far?
Well, basically on the downtown development for Oak Park Avenue, you have 3 projects. You have the North Street, South Street, and the Plaza.
And that's the area right around the train station. People know
right where the fountain is at.
Right.
Let's start with North Street. North Street right now is moving along glacially, but it is moving. And part of the problem is the condo market. The condo market has just dried up. They have a number of them sold, and they must reach a certain number for the bank before the bank will release the money. And hopefully that will be happening in a relatively near future. South Street is a kind of an interesting project. It's over by Loopy's in that particular area with some commercial down below. And on top of that, instead of condos, around they're putting in townhouses. Oh. So on the second floor, you'll have a little bit of a garden, so to speak, and it'll set back maybe 10 or 15 feet, and you'll be a townhouse. And to gain access to it, you'll come around to your 2-car garage behind, drive in, and there'll be an elevator that'll take you up to your 2nd and 3rd floor.
With businesses on the first floor?
With businesses on the first floor and the ground floor. Right. So that's moving along, and we're very happy about that. The plaza itself, I met last week with Trustee Ray, and we'll be meeting again next week with Tang, T-E-N-G. Tang is the company who did a lot of the work for Millennium Park in Chicago. The village has signed a contract with them to design our plaza and also the parking garage at the eastern edge of that particular plaza. So we're looking at really kind of an all-purpose kind of plaza. With some passive activities. One of the things we like, and we saw this over at Navy Pier, is these fountains that come out of the ground where the kids run around in them and things like that. Yeah. So we're looking at that, and we're also looking at some passive areas where people could come and read, and maybe some little picnic areas, and also to make sure that we continue with the farmers market and all those kinds of things. So that we should have that pretty much buttoned up to by about April, I'd say no, about May, early June, with construction starting in the fall.
Oh, okay. Wow. All right, they say glacially, but at least it's moving.
It's moving.
Getting along there.
I wish the condo market were better.
Yeah,
that would make
well,
things much better.
The housing market, as we know, is
Housing
kinda
market's in trouble.
not the best in the world, but we're going to make it through. Another big building that's over there is the old cash store.
Oh, the old Bremen cash store. That is actually.
I hope we're going to be able to save that. But
well, I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen with it, Ron. What basically has occurred through the time is that whenever you have an old building like that, every time you open up a wall, something else pops up at you. And you open up that second wall, something else. And that's literally what happened with that building. When Boston Blackies bought the building, they started tearing it apart, and it seemed almost a daily thing. They found other things they had to fix. Finally, what they did is they took the roof off because they were going to put some things in from a construction standpoint. And they found out when they took the roof off, the top 4 or 5 feet of the building is unsafe because the mortar has worn out within the bricks. So there's some concern now about exactly what to do with it. The two options are try to repair it, but that may be not cost effective. Yeah. If it is not, if it's not done, what they would then do is tear the building down, take the front facades, anything we can out of it, and reconstruct an exact replica of it. That might be the alternative. Okay. Again, that decision will be made sometime probably January, February.
Are they still, Boston Blackies still in the process of trying to develop it?
They're trying to develop it. They're the owners of the property.
And that's a restaurant, right?
It's a restaurant, right.
Okay.
Okay. And it's a brew pub where they wanted to put their own beer manufacturing, what have you, right in the center of it. That's part of the reason what caused the roof coming off.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, things are going on downtown. That's keeping you kind of busy, looks like.
It's moving along.
Let's go over to the western part of town. I know it was a big thing in the paper sometime this year about the 80th Avenue train station. I guess you went out there one morning and
yes,
what's going on with the 80th Avenue?
Very, very hard on that. Those of you who have used the 80th Avenue station know that there's basically 2 major difficulties in it. The 2 difficulties are, first of all, it's about an 18-inch step from the platform to the train. And if you've been in the building itself, the building it just outdistanced itself. You know, it just is not functional anymore. So we were able to get a grant through Congressperson Judy Biggert for approximately $700,000. The village has put away approximately $1.5 to $2 million for enhancements on that station. The ripple on the pond is the Illinois State Legislature, not Metro.
Oops.
Metro is ready to go.
Oh, yeah.
But they have not been funded by the Illinois Legislature. Oh. Now we're taping this on December 5th, so I'm not sure what's going to happen. But we have a commitment from Metro that as soon as those dollars are available for 80th Avenue, we're ready to go.
Oh, really? So as soon as the legislature finally resolves their budgeting woes here they've been having.
Right. We've got some thoughts on the architecture, et cetera. It'll probably be a prairie-type architecture that'll complement the library.
Oh, okay. All right, good. So, but we're just waiting.
As I say, the reason why we're out this summer is to draw attention to it.
Yeah, the village is waiting to go. Metro's waiting to go. We just need.
Our complaint is definitely not with Metro. Okay. It is with the Illinois State Legislature.
All right. So tell your legislatures. The convention center is another big entity in town here too. I guess I've been reading in the paper that there's some expansion plans for that.
What's interesting with the convention center, Ron, is that literally since it is opened, it has seen hundreds of thousands of people go through it. We did a study before we did the convention center to see whether it would be viable or not. That study was very positive. We did another one about a year ago that said, what about expansion? And it said, definitely. Because what is happening is many of the groups that came, and something very near and dear to my heart, model railroading, the S-gauge people had been there twice. And the last time they were there, they just literally filled the place with no room whatsoever. So those kinds of things are happening, and what our plans are around is to roughly double the size of the exposition area.
Wow.
And the hotel people themselves are looking to add 75 to 95 new rooms.
More rooms to the hotel?
To the hotel.
Oh, wow.
Because it's doing very well. And what our point here is that we don't want to miss that niche market. Now the niche market has moved a little bit larger because the conventions have gotten larger, but we want to get into that.
Okay, wow. Any projections as to
We
what we're
hope
looking
to
at?
start construction sometime in late spring, early summer of '08.
So it's
Oh, yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
in the works.
It's in the works.
Oh, wow. Okay.
With probably completion sometime in '09.
Okay. Parking expansion even too?
Parking expansion also. What we're looking at, we looked at a tower. We found out that it just was cost prohibitive, number one, and number two, from a aesthetic standpoint, it did not look good. At least at that point in time, in front of the convention center, etc. So we're in the process now of exploring buying more land.
Oh.
And having surface parking, which would add to the parking availability to the folks at the north end, the private businesses, etc., that kind of thing. They could use it during the daytime and things like this.
Okay.
And then probably about 35 times out of the year, there'd be maximum effort from the convention center where we would use it for the convention center also.
Wow, that's nice to hear that the convention crowd is getting bigger, and we're really
Yeah, we're real happy
attracting,
with that.
Yeah.
Very happy with that.
We're one of the few around.
Yeah, and part of it too is Mokina's looking at some things, and Country Club Hills is looking at some things. So we want to get our oar in the water first.
Yeah. Thank you. That's Tinley. That's Tinley. Another building over there is that Midwest Theater now. I've been reading the paper that there's some things going on with that. What's happening
The
with
folks
that
at
over there?
Midwest Theater, Midwest Bank does not own it. They just bought the name.
The name, right, okay.
The theater is owned by Live Nation, and they own probably 80% of the outdoor venues in the United States and and Canada. Shows are changing. You don't have the big mega shows anymore. You have the super mega shows, which uses Soldiers Field with 65, 70,000. The Joliet Racetrack, again, with upwards of 70 or 80,000. So the function here at a 35,000 seat theater is under question. So they are planning to probably use it at least 1 or 2 more seasons and want to sell it. And so it'll be developed as industrial property in the rich township area, which could use the industrial development.
Wow. Okay. So the days are numbered of the
I think the days
shows
are numbered
coming out of Tinley Park.
Right.
Putting Tinley Park
And shades of the Grateful Dead are gone.
Thank you. We remember that.
Oh, yes, we do.
Oh, yes, we do. Any other big developments in town here that we can think of?
Panduit.
Oh, okay.
Panduit's a long-time resident of Tinley Park, and we were able to work with the Panduit family and their governing structure to relocate them at 191st and 80th Avenue.
So they may be moving out of their...
They're moving out of that area.
That's what, 175th and
Ridgeland.
Okay.
And they're talking of over 100,000 square feet of office area, multi-storied, literally their world headquarters, and a very large conservation type area because there are wetlands out there, etc. So we're real excited about them. And what really worked well is that we were able to get the Will County Board, the Will County Schools, and the state of Illinois all to work together with us and Panduit to make a good incentive package to keep them here in our community. It will maintain and bring in probably 600 to 700 jobs.
Oh my!
Which is nice.
Yes, thank you. Wow, and it'll still be in Tinley Park.
It'll still be in Tinley Park.
Okay. Anything? What's going to happen with the present?
Not sure exactly what'll happen there, and I'm not sure
something?
how long they'll be there. But one of the things we're negotiating is that the Village of Tinley Park has the first right of refusal on the property.
Oh, okay.
So we can control what goes there.
All right. Wow. Another thing we've been reading a lot of paper lately too is the water problems.
The water problems.
What's happening? What happened and what's going to happen with the water?
Let's talk globally for a minute.
Oh, globally,
and then talk closely here in Tinley Park. Here on December 5th, 2007, the city of Raleigh, North Carolina, has 56-day water supply. I think we've all read in the newspapers what's happening in Atlanta. Thankfully, the communities here along the Lake Michigan have not an unlimited, but at least a limited source of water. We had some problems last year. We put in some pumps. The pumps will be tested at maximum strength and beyond in late January and February of this year. Well, we'll draw down the water in our tanks and click on those not emergency pumps, but click on those pumps and let them run full blast and see what happens. We're always going to have water restrictions. And water restrictions most likely will be you know, odd, even, that kind of thing, morning, evening, that kind of thing. It's going to continue. And folks have got to realize that we now have to start conserving water in all different ways because it is not an infinite source, it's now a finite source.
And more people are using that water from Lake Michigan too. As more communities come on, more population comes on, more people are using it, needing that water.
And there's some concern about the lake dropping. At one time, there was a plan that some folks were talking about, is building a huge pipeline from Lake Michigan, from the Great Lakes down to Kansas and Oklahoma, and pumping water down there. Now that can't happen. That would, you know, because there's some international laws and what have you that'll keep that together.
Wow.
Now I also might mention, Ron, that as of January of '08, there's going to be approximately not approximately, but exactly a 15% increase in our water rates.
Oops.
Chicago raised the water rates 15% will raise it January of '08. Excuse me. They'll also be raising the water rates another 15% in January of '09.
Oh my.
And also they'll be raising the water rates 14% on January of '10. Now, I don't know why it's 15, 15, 14.
Wow.
I'm not sure what that means. Excuse me, I'm putting up with a cold. But that will be passed down to our residents. I hate to say it,
So
but that will be.
almost a 50% increase in the next 3 years.
Next 3 years.
And I just
And
put
that's
a
coming out of
sprinkling
Chicago.
system in my house.
Excuse me, I'm going to drink a little water.
Okay.
Go ahead. What else you got?
Yeah, and you know, with the water improvements are coming on strong. It sounds like the things are out of the Tinley Park's hands as far as rates go and stuff like that. And
I also have to say, Ron, there's been some changes over in Oak Lawn, and we are dealing now with some people who are just very, very good to deal with.
Oh, are they?
Very
okay,
good
so
to deal with.
Changed a little bit.
Very responsive, and they're working with our public works people.
Okay. Well, and speaking of taxes, or water rates and taxes too, you know, everybody got their tax bill recently too, and taxes have gone up. The Tinley's.
I just happen to bring a piece of paper with me.
There you go. Okay.
In anticipation of your question.
Thank you.
Every year, for the last 25 years, Ron, since 1982, at our first meeting in December, we rebate taxes. Now, in some communities, it's fashionable to collect the money, then you got to apply for the money, and then the village sends you a check back. Quite frankly, what we do is we never put it on the tax bill to begin with. Let me give you an example. Okay, my house, roughly about $300,000 in Tinley. Since 1998, on the village with the rebates, I've saved $4,379, and this year in 2007, $334 were never even taxed onto my house. Now I think yours is what, in the $600,000-700,000 range?
You think I moved?
Oh, okay. No.
I live in Tinley Park.
All right. Well, you know. So the point that I'm making is that we have these kinds of things in the works, and folks sometimes, and let me put it bluntly, I get nasty grams saying, well, why can't we do what Orland Park does, or what Chester does in Crestwood? And those notes are usually unsigned, so I can't contact those people. But we have that kind of program where it never even shows up on the tax bill. Okay. And I think that makes a difference.
Saves costs, saves administrative costs,
mailing, you know, all the things back and forth. And we've been doing this for 25 years, since 1982.
Okay. Well, that's good for people to understand that that's still being done, and they are saving money compared to what it should be. So keep it up, I would say.
Yeah. Well, you know, the village can control only approximately 10 to 12% of your tax bill.
That's another thing too. Yeah.
70% of your tax bill are schools.
That's it. So. A couple other things. We got cameras going up at intersections, I understand, too.
We have explored the possibility over the last 6 months, and we'll probably go ahead with it sometime in spring, with cameras on 159th and Harlem, 167th and Harlem, and 183rd and Harlem, that if you go through a red light, you'll get a ticket. Now, one of the things that slowed us up, we had a resident concerned that we would change the yellow light and shorten it. Oh. Folks, we're not doing that, okay? One, it's against the law. Right. Number two, IDOT has certain specifications of what a yellow light, the time it must be on, okay? So that's not going to happen. So we're looking at sometimes in the spring and putting those in. And yes, it'll generate money. There's some money, but not a whole lot of money. We're more concerned from a public safety standpoint. When you have an intersection like 159th and Oak Park, which is another one of the corners we're going to do, 159th and Oak Park, when you have 194 accidents in 1 year.
Oh my.
You know, these go from fender benders to major accidents.
Right.
And more often than not, it's someone tailgating through a light. Hopefully this will solve those kinds of things.
Wow. Okay, well, that's an improvement. It should help. Those red light runners are really aggravating to me. I hate to see that kind of stuff. One of the other ones, is 183rd Street ever going to go through to?
Well, some residents don't want it to go through.
Yeah,
so
okay.
You know, so the project was delayed, so they're cheering for it right now.
Okay.
However, with all due respect, 183rd Street needs to go through for many, many different reasons, and we talked about that over the past couple of years. There is some funding, some interesting funding things going on in Springfield.
Of course.
And the project has been delayed about 6 months. So we're looking to go to contract with it sometime in February or March, and with the construction starting this year. My understanding is that for the most part the engineering is completed. Most of the right-of-way has gotten taken care of. The utilities have been moved. So it's a matter now of doing the hard construction.
Okay.
We've got the okay from Metra to go over the tracks. That the crossing itself will be approximately $1.1 million.
Wow.
And the entire project will be about $15 million, and it's coming from the feds, from the states, and the county. So those are the three entities, plus the Village of Tinley Park is throwing in some money also to put it all together. And quite frankly, we want to make sure it goes ahead because we do not want to lose the funding from the federal government, the state government, and the county government.
Yeah, plus we need that too.
Yes,
so we need that.
absolutely.
At the beginning of the program, I talked about Tinley Park being an award-bearing community. What's some awards that we've gotten, and some people in town have gotten some nice awards this last
Well,
year,
let
too.
me first start out with the people. I had the opportunity to be with Bob Bettenhausen, our fire marshal, in Providence, Rhode Island, where he received a lifetime award for his contribution to the fire service.
Wow.
And literally Tinley Park and Robert Bettenhausen and Tinley Park Fire Department are all one.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
You don't distinguish them.
Right, right.
Our new train station over on Oak Park Avenue was named as one of the top 50 architectural things that people should see in the state of Illinois.
Oh my.
And that was developed by an architectural association. In 1906, we won in 2006, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
2006.
I'm not that old.
Well, sometimes you know, okay. 2006, we won a award by the United States Department of Economics, U.S. Department of Commerce, for our economic development programs and how we do things, et cetera, that kind of thing. Our website in 2005, 2006, one of those 2 years, we won the top #1 award for websites in communities of $250,000 or less. And while I'm on the website, let me plug that website because it has gotten very, very good. We're very happy with it. And one of the things, we do have a program where if you give us your email address, and we do not sell it or give it to anyone else,
Thank you.
once a month we will send you kind of what's happening in Tinley Park. Secondarily, if there's an emergency or something along those lines, we will also send messages over that email to your house. So that's another beneficial situation. Okay? So, folks, if you're interested at all, you're involved in it, please, go on our website, sign up for it. You won't be bothered. We won't sell anything to you.
Yeah. Website being, what is?
You know what, Ron? You asked the question that I didn't know.
I'm sorry.
Because I just go to my favorites and click on it.
TinleyPark.org or something. Okay. Well, check it out. I'm sure you can find it on your internet site there. No big problem on that. Sounds like things are going pretty strong here.
Things are going good.
Well.
It's going very well. I'm a little concerned about the economy. Our largest source of revenue in Tinley Park are car sales. And as you know, at least in December of 2007, car sales are marginal. So that makes us a little bit of concern, okay? And so we want to make sure that the economy kind of turns around, et cetera, that kind of thing. Secondarily, the condo market. I spoke about that earlier. That's definitely having an effect on some of our downtown projects.
Oh, wow. But Tinley Park is still running in the black, right?
We are in the black,
we always,
and that's why we're able to do all those rebates.
Do that kind of stuff.
There's no question about it. We have a excellent finance committee chaired by Trustee Ray, and sometimes I think when we look for money, he thinks it comes out of his personal checking account. So he's very stingy with the money.
Okay. And we got a new trustee this year.
New trustee, Tom Staunton, young man from the Brookside Glen area. He works in the city of Chicago for CTA. He's in charge of our building department. Married, wife Sue, one little girl about 10 years old. He's a resident of our town for about 8 years, was on the LRPC and Historical Commission. So, and he's doing very, very well.
Okay, good. Sounds like things are rolling.
Things are going good for us,
pretty
Ron.
good for Tinley Park. Another year of Mayor Ed and the trustees and the.
I'm just looking to make sure we covered as much as
we
we could.
Did we cover it? Okay.
Well, we're still a bunch of stuff here, but we're running out of time.
We're running out of time. Good. Well, thanks again for coming to our yearly meeting, our yearly visit. It really enlightens the people what's going on in Tinley Park, and a lot of things are happening. So
a lot of things are happening,
Tinley
Ron,
Park does
and
not stay still.
Thanks to folks like you and the volunteers on the scene here. We appreciate it, and all of you folks make Tinley Park a better place for all of us.
Thank you very much. Again, we thank Mayor Ed for coming here. Been around for a long time, and with Mayor Ed and the village trustees running the village here, it's always in good hands, and things are just moving along tremendously. Tinley Park still maintains its really excellent reputation because of the people in the government and the volunteers in Tinley Park. One last thing I'd like to mention coming up, it's a little ways away, but in April 5th, our annual Discover Tinley program is going to be coming on. This is where we have the businesses and organizations in Tinley Park coming out to the convention center, as we talked about, and kind of showing you the wares and kind of showing you who's in town, who are some of the businesses in town you can go to, and also some of the organizations that you can join. So we'd like to invite you to make sure you are aware of that. Make sure of Tinley, April 5th on your calendars. If any of you, businesses or organizations, nonprofit organizations, would like to participate, look on the website, and you can download the application right there and get into the mix on that. The application deadline, I think, is going to be sometime in March, so please try to get that in soon if you think your organization or a business would like to participate in that. So again, April 5th for Discover Tinley at the Convention Center. Otherwise, everything else is going pretty good in Tinley Park. Tinley Park last year enjoyed a tremendous season. A lot of things going on. We look forward to having you participate in everything in Tinley Park. And as Mayor Ed said, if you feel like volunteering for anything, please drop a line at the Village Hall in care of the village government. And they're always looking for volunteers to help out. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of things you can do and help out. So thanks again for watching Discover Tinley. We'll see you next month. Take care and have fun.